real-life wizard's chess was way cooler than we'd expect, thanks to some radio-controlled, supersized pieces.
That was really exciting, because I got to sit on the horse, and I remember really enjoying that.
Fawkes, Dumbledore's phoenix, wasn't CGI or a real bird disguised as the mythical creature. It was an incredibly built puppet that looked and felt so real that Richard Harris initially thought it was alive. Taking advantage of the moment, the animatronics controllers continued to fool Harris, making the bird move around and behave like, well, a bird.
Pretty good, huh?
They could have filmed a regular-sized chessboard or used CGI to bring the magical chessboard to life, but why not dream bigger? The Wizard's chess set was designed by the production designer Stuart Craig, and the creative team made these enormous pieces a reality. As for how they got around the board, some pieces were fully decked out with radio control mechanisms to make them move where and when they needed to. Oh, and as for the horse piece that explodes, it was set up with a compressed air device inside it.
The coolest thing about it was when the pieces got smashed, because they actually exploded.
In real life, the Marauder's map looks just as cool. It's a 3D prop made with the help of an illusionist. One version was actually constructed to be able to fold itself,
with tiny threads that had to be pulled in a certain order in a certain way.
Part of the reason they opted to create some real magic was so its existence came across as a realistic item.
Everyone, where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day.
Brilliant!
Normally, large and otherworldly creatures are dependent on complex CGI, but back in 2002, the Chamber of Secrets went old school and built the giant 18-foot-wide Aragog, which features hair made out of coconuts. A CGI spider would have resulted in much less physical labor on set, that's for sure. It took at least 7 people to move the 3/4-ton puppet that also used aquatronics. Rupert Grint, who really does have a fear of spiders, was extremely nervous on set, but thanks to the incredible puppet, he grew more comfortable with it simply because it was so impressive.
The Aragog, the big spider, which is horrible.
The magical door of the Chamber of Secrets moves so smoothly that it feels like it would have to be CGI, especially considering the fact that it was made in the early 2000s. The special effects supervising engineer created the door from scratch, making sure it worked in real life just as they wanted it to in the movie.
The Basilisk is one of the most terrifying magical beasts that we've ever encountered in these films.
While some shots of the Basilisk are done with CGI, all the close-ups we see are actually done with practical effects. A giant animatronic basilisk head, to be exact. Christopher Columbus wanted Radcliffe to have a real creature to work with. He couldn't get the 25-foot beast he'd requested, but in the end, the animatronic head was able to move its jaw and eyes, had fangs that could retract, and the full head could even slither thanks to some tracks.
He was actually fighting a mechanical version of that snake at times.
Clearing the leaky cauldron tables with CGI magic could have been done easily enough, but the Harry Potter team had some tricks up their sleeve. Literally. Instead of just making glassware disappear with a computer, the actor on set was doing live magic and sneakily hid the props using sleight of hand. Thinking outside the box is what you do when bringing the world of Harry Potter to life. Instead of resorting to editing for creating the visuals of all the spells, the effects department got to work setting up many wands and battery packs so the actors could magically light up their wands themselves, even without casting a spell. While this was effective, Radcliffe had a tough time working with such a heavy prop since these batteries were around the size of a car battery.
The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter.
The magical moment Harry holds the wand that chooses him was fully created on set, giving Radcliffe a truly incredible experience. His amazement wasn't just acting. The addition of lights, wind, and dust added to the magic, but if the film is slowed down, it could look like time was speeding up.
Yeah, I really remember filming The Devil's Snare. that was really fun.
The Devil's Snare in the very first Harry Potter film shockingly didn't resort to any CGI. The freaky plant was actually an enormous puppet, so when filming, Harry, Ron, and Hermione struggling against it, puppeteers were controlling it while all the vines were wrapped around the actors, and between takes, all they had to do was rearrange to film more. Then, using one of the simplest editing tricks in the book, reversing the film, they produced the effect we see.
Madame Lestrange, if you will follow me.
The incredibly complex vault doors in Gringotts came from the mind of the special effects supervising engineer, Mark Bullimore. Not a detail was overlooked. Each of the locks were actually made by hand.
Shut up! Shut up!
Aunt Marge's balloon moment was so wild to see on screen, we can't imagine what it would have looked like for the filming crew, or the actress who experienced the real-life inflation. The actress Pam Harris filmed the scene with 4 different makeup looks and in a bodysuit that could be pumped with air in a shockingly realistic way. It was hours of effort on the actress's and filming team's part, but so worth the final result.
One of the weirdest things I've ever done in my life.
The creepy and wild eye of Mad Eye wasn't just a practically built prop. It was a radio-controlled eye. The team felt that Mad Eye should have an eye that felt like he could have created it, and they made it happen, making sure the eye could be controlled independently with the radio control. Wrangling animals on set is not an easy task, especially on such a large and already chaotic set. However, wanting to bring as much realism to the films as they could, multiple animals came together to film these animal character parts. 4 different owls performed as Hedwig, over 12 rats took on the role of Scabbers, 9 Neapolitan Mastiffs appeared as Fang, and Crookshanks was actually 4 different cats.
Very carefully introduce them to this kind of environment. It's so important that you do that slowly.
Mrs. Weasley knows how to run a household. She was able to take care of her whole family with the help of her self-working, cleaning, cooking, and crafting tools. All of these were center stage on set as mechanical, practical tools that could take care of the needed effects. Floating books exist in the wizarding world. And in the real world, if you get some special effects people wearing green suits holding books out in the air with their hands. While CGI was done to remove the hands, those books were completely real.
It was a sensational shot.
When it comes to the background in these magical environments, the devil is in the details, and with such intricate rooms comes a lot of work. Every single wand box we see, and many of which we don't see, was made and labeled. No small task, since there were 17,000 boxes in Olivander's shop. The fact that the night bus contains surprisingly little CGI elements is a testament to just how big the Harry Potter team dreamed when it came to the world of magic. Actual double-decker buses provided the base of a triple-decker that had a 3rd level welded together. Even its wild speed was created manually. The initial filming saw the night bus speeding around a bit while everyone else moved around slowly, and then they changed the speed the film was played back at to make the magic happen. Considering just how much CGI there is in the final Harry Potter films, we'd expect that tool to be used for the fading of Voldemort's robes, but instead, the costume department was put to work, creating an array of faded robes to use throughout the filming process.
It's a raw hem on it, not something I think you can find anywhere else in the entire Harry Potter films.
This is not a drill. The Hogwarts Express is real, and not just at a Harry Potter-themed exhibit. The train we see in the movies is called the Jacobite Express steam train and is based in Scotland. A big reason that the Harry Potter movies are so magical is because of how much we see was done in real life, thanks to some very creative minds. Which practical effect were you most surprised by?